Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Comic Book Roundup. We've got a decently sized haul again, not too big, not too small. So let's get started. Kicking things off, we've got Wolverine number 22. Where we left off, Wolverine and Deadpool have been taken prisoner by Maverick and Weasel, former associates of theirs. While on the trail of Danger, who appears to be somewhat involved with the CIA's X desk. Also, Maverick and Weasel seem to be in possession of a collapsed, I don't want to say version of Danger, but it kind of did look like that. So we open, it picks up with Wolverine and Deadpool in the cell with a cage with adamantium bars. Well, Weasel and Maverick try to put together what's in the case. Which does appear to be a micro danger, though it turns on. Has a bit of a... and starts... attacks both Weasel and Maverick. Wolverine decides he actually could use Deadpool's help. Not in a manner that Deadpool would have wanted, as he does have to basically cut Deadpool's... separate Deadpool's body from, let's see... about here... basically just cut him so that, his right arm... he's basically just a head and his upper torso and right arm, so... then chucks him out of a cell. Explains that Wolverine was watching Weasel put in the code. The code being ABC123. And yes, Deadpool does give Weasel some much deserved shit for the fact that he's supposedly a master hacker. His security code is ABC123. There's a note from Blind Owl about Deadpool. Deadpool is the best, worst, smartest, dumbest punk you'll ever meet. A vile freak, a disrespectful clown, an R-rated, C-graded hooligan. Complete shit annoyance. Or probably complete fucking annoyance. The worst person in a room full of worst persons. But we got an understanding. He'd kill a kitten for me, and I'd kill a puppy for him. If that's not love, I don't know what is. That Maverick and Weasel are chasing down Mini Danger while Wolverine chases them down. Mini Danger is tackled by Maverick, and so Mini Danger activates their jet feet. Wolverine and Deadpool give chase. And are saved by Blind Owl. Also, Wolverine manages to remove the head from Mini Danger, and we get a Blind Owl logbook entry. Selected notes collected from voice memos, giving Deadpool a tracker, which she'll use to check up on his whereabouts at least 5 times daily. And there's some CIA stuff. Al's contacts tell her that the X-desk of the CIA has been muscling old allies and enemies of the mutants. Dolores Ramirez is the boss over there, and she wants all the dirty intel, along with some big boner firepower to fight and control Krakoa. Word on the street, she forced Danger to construct and program a squad of X-Men. Nobody knows them better. She tested and studied their every strength and weakness for years on end. She can build, if not a replica, then a cousin. What does Dolores have in mind? Unknown. Perhaps she wants the automatons to serve as moles. Perhaps she wants to train her agents to fight them in battle simulations. Perhaps she wants them in the same manner as deepfake videos to create disinformation about the mutants. Or perhaps she wants to harem a sex box. Hot. Nevertheless, she got her way. And she got her way because she has Danger in a headlock. And all Blind Owl's got your dribbles of tea on that one. Seems Dolores has an agreement with a rogue Shi'ar diplomat who had some unsavory taste the CIA was aware of and leaned on. Said Shi'ar diplomat was asked to keep an asset off planet to force dangerous hand. What this asset is exactly, and why is it important? No one seems to know, except for Dolores and Danger. Is it a MacGuffin or a legit reveal? Well, we'll find out. Blind out's over for someone juicy. But Al takes Wade and Logan to some contacts words from their spy days, and they basically hack into the micro danger head. Turns out that the unit has been in contact with a mother host, which is currently located at Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, which is where Wolverine and Deadpool go next, and that is where the issue ends. This is I'm enjoying the story. I am. I really am. It's a nice little nod. It's a fun little nod to the various team ups that Wolverine and Deadpool have had over the years, and while yes, it does rely very much on Deadpool's more recent lol random characterization, it manages to make it work. And to be fair, we'll just lean on this issue. But well, except for the part where Deadpool suggests that him and Wolverine just become their own franchise together. But overall, I've really been enjoying Benjamin Percy's run on Wolverine. So yeah. So far, I'm all in on it. So moving on to our next book, though, we've got X-Men Red #3. Where we left off, Abigail Brand's X-Men got thoroughly defeated. With all of them being killed, and some members of some of the Sword personnel, namely Manifold, quit. Among those that survived the slaughter was Vulcan. And Brand decided she wanted to make Vulcan her man inside the circle on Arakko. How? By having him go up against Tarn the Uncaring, the least liked member of the council. And so, yeah, Vulcan's pretty much convinced himself that Tarn's a dead man. So we, as mentioned, Abigail Brand's X-Men were thoroughly defeated, with multiple members being killed, including Cable. Cable's resurrected at the hatchery. With Hope having put in the appropriate arm that he requested. But Thunderbird's waiting for him. It turns out their fight earlier was in some ways staged, except for the fact that everything Thunderbird said he meant. He really does not appreciate the fact that both Emma Frost and Cable basically made his brother James a soldier in their wars. But that's something that they'll have to discuss at a later date. Manifold comes upon them, however, wanting to talk about Abigail Brand. Speaking of Brand, word of Vulcan challenging Tarn have circulated throughout Arakko, and Storm is discussing this with Brand. Namely that, and Storm basically says that, she got lucky against Tarn because, well, Tarn was arrogant. He thought that stealing Storm's power gave him room to gloat. Now he knows better. Instead of gloating, he kills with a single thought. And Brand points out that Storm seems worried. But so that she's worried that Vulcan will lose, or worried Vulcan will win. And Storm asks if that should be a worry to her. And suffice to say that Storm does not hold Vulcan in that high of an opinion. There's also a top secret report from Mentallo about Vulcan. And it's explained that he knows what mental barriers look like. Everyone's got them. Vulcan's got something else. It's explained. The way Metallo puts it in his report is, it's like I'm the Roadrunner, and I'm running down the road towards a big old tunnel in Vulcan's mental mountain, all the way to the main brain vein, and of course I zip right through it. No problem. Meet meet. And it's only after I've done that I realize, wait a sec, Mark, that tunnel's painted on. The Vulcan we see on the outside, the guy who's messed up but you can at least talk to, that's a painting of a tunnel in a cartoon. You can go right inside it. You can take a look around, but it's painted on all the same. It's an illusion. So good it fooled Mentallo, and the scary part is that Mentallo thinks that it might fool Xavier, and he's pretty sure that it in fact did. So if Mentallo is seeing it, it's because it started to fail, and that scares him. Adding that if you were to fight Vulcan right now, you're fighting the painting. The real Vulcan is inside the mountain. And Mentallo thinks that that's a guy who could maybe beat just about anyone on Araka. So maybe he'd incinerate everyone else in a square mile while he did it. Or maybe he'd crack the planet open like an egg. Or maybe he'd blow up the sun. Mentallo doesn't think they want to break open that mountain. He advises to find a black hole and drop Vulcan in it. But if she still wants him to go up against Tarn, well, good news is Vulcan's got access to all his powers, even if he isn't dialing them all the way up. Maybe that means he's not going to be strong enough unless they bring a side out of him they don't want to bring out. But he's definitely sneaky enough. Mentallo thinks he could train him to make better use of what he's got, but he wants hazard pay. Or rather, well, danger money, he puts it. Back on Araka, at the Autumn Palace, Magneto's New Brotherhood is discussing this turn of events with Sunspot pointing out that basically suggesting Magneto challenge Tarn, but Magneto don't want. Doesn't want to do. The Fisher King states, hey, you built a home here in our ways. Your door is open to us. You're, as far as we're concerned, you're one of us. Storm interjects, adds a few things as well, and apparently Storm is reminding Magneto of Charles. And he laments the fact that apparently we learned that Magneto's daughter Anya, whose death is a major part of Magneto's past, didn't have a mutant gene, and so she's not in the waiting room which Wanda created. But Sunspot continues to push it at Magneto. And Sunset, at the Cynical Perilous, begins with various parties viewing the fight. In the stands, you've got Iska the Unbeaten, who Sunspot takes a seat next to and talks up, as well as Cora the Burning Heart, whom Storm asks if Cora is still working for Abigail Brand. She also says she wants to see Tarn's death. But she also points out that Brand would not have sent Vulcan against Tarn unless she had taught him something. So the challenge begins. And it turns out that with Vulcan's energy manipulation abilities, he's able to prevent Tarn from accessing his mutant power, his powers, and so it basically becomes a fight between the two of them. But Tarn's face tentacles aren't part of his powers, aren't part of his power set, and well, Vulcan showed up with no additional weapons. And Tarn thoroughly beats and kills Vulcan. Vulcan, who often brags how he's never died. But there's another challenge for Tarn. Magneto. And this is where things get fun. Sunspot bets Iska the Unbeaten, who is incapable of losing, that Tarn wins. And when Iska realizes what Sunspot's done, well, let's just say she's not happy. And so Tarn accepts the challenge. As he accepts, Magneto puts his helmet on Tarn's head. His helmet, which is made of metal. Magneto explains this. Tarn's control of DNA is psychokinetic in nature. Magneto's helmet blocks mental powers. As made of metal, Magneto can control it. And so, Magneto crushes Tarn's skull within his helmet. And Magneto claims the seat of loss. And that is where the issue ends. I gotta say that I honestly expected that somehow Vulcan would win, and that would be another ripple in the greater tapestry that Al Ewing is writing. But no, I'm actually quite happy that, in fact, that Vulcan has potentially been knocked down a notch or two. Let's see how that plays out. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Captain America: Sentinel of Liberty, #1. So, after Captain America #0, things were set up for two separate Captain America books. One featuring Sam Wilson, retaking the Captain America mantle. And I cannot for the life of me remember the subtitle on that one. And the other being Sentinel of Liberty, focusing on Steve. Even though we got some set up in Captain America number 0, it's very bare bones. But get a lot of Cap kind of thinking, talking about who he is and what he knows, and he's renting a place in in Manhattan's Lower East Side. Turns out this the apartment he grew up in. Its location is still listed as being classified, since the fact that the Smithsonian hasn't turned it into a Captain America museum. But every morning, Cap runs through runs around the entirety of Manhattan Island, 32 miles, with the shield. We see various things like him getting some water while some kids play with it as well, high-fiving as he passes by. He's also re-enrolled in art classes at community college and made friends with some of his fellow students. Though he has some issue with drawing on a tablet. I actually really appreciate the fact that it's nice to see the fact that Steve Rogers is supposed to actually has a decent amount of artistic talent being once again explored. But like he's made friends with some of his fellow students as well as with some of his neighbors. But there's also a group of members of his own generation. They record with a little radio company. They talk talk by radio. But a series of numbers pops up over the radio, and so they're all just listening to the numbers, trying to figure them all out. Trying to be a message. Big July 4th parade. Cap and Winter Soldier meet up to keep an eye out for any threats. Actually, a really fun bit with Winter Soldier gets brought up, where apparently Winter Soldier bragging about his some of his accomplishments from having been Winter Soldier, stating, "Ninjas avoid me at all costs. I fought Wolverine to a standstill. Loki once tried to trick me and ended up with a broken jaw." I gotta say, I love it. But Fireworks boat seems to have some questionable energy signatures about it. And there's a destroyer aboard. And the destroyer, a new version of the destroyer, is aboard. Cap goes to stop him. Guy manages to get hit from the shield at full force, no problem. Lets off a major energy blast, which the shield basically is the only thing that manages to help Steve continue standing. Goes at destroyer to Bucky. But a strange shard is pulled out, and but it turns out that this destroyer had a mission, and well, since he's failed, though he sent him on his mission to kill him. But with his dying breath, he tells Steve that the shield isn't what Steve thinks. It's not Steve's symbol, it's theirs. And a strange diamond-shaped shard is found on him. Later that night, Bucky returns home. And has apparently got a rather large a wall filled with pictures and pieces of string attached, linking pictures to each other. And in the middle of it is the star. with Bucky saying 1 down, 4 to go. Apparently, the diamond-shaped shard is a diamond. It is basically a section of a star. But someone apparently is engaging a what's known as the Century game, and has decided to put Captain America on the battlefield, or on the plane, on the board. And having Captain America in play is just his opener. It's added that the 20th century was a draw. The 21st will be played for keeps. Forward with Revolution, and that is where the issue ends. An interesting start to things, and for a better explanation of what I was talking about with Bucky's little board, the star is set up much like how the star on Cap's shield is. So yeah, you've got the 5 diamond segments. It's like that. Each section being one, with there being one that has been found, and then 4 others that haven't been brought in. Interesting start. Should make some good reading over. Should make some good reading. Moving on to our next book, we've got Iron Man number 20. Where we left off, Hellcat dropped Tony off at rehab, so he could kick his morphine addiction. So he's out of rehab. Patsy comes to pick him up, and Tony wrote a letter to her. Wanted to wait to give it to her back in New York, but yeah. Turns out the Space Friends now have a fantasy baseball league with her and Rhodey kind of vying for the top. Though, explain that Rhodey and Jim Hammond play for keeps, but yeah, she's still doing better than all of them. But the letter that Tony wrote to Patsy includes a marriage proposal, and she explains she loves him, but she has to think it over. The next day, also Tony keeps getting calls from Vic Martinelli. But the next day, Tony is unveiling a Stark Unlimited supercomputer, and it's going to be playing a game of chess against an intellectually augmented gorilla, Chet. The gorilla also would like to become a consultant at Stark Unlimited. Through a Chet is declared a cheater via technicality. We're also making some cuts to Patsy thinking over everything. But Chet is not happy with being called a cheater, attacks Tony, who armors up, and it turns out that Chet has been able to knock out the operating systems and quite a few of the systems on Iron Man's armor. Among the few still operable systems are the retractable roller blades and the boots. And while rollerblading away, Tony admits that those are fun and he should use them more. But Tony takes down Chet, and even doesn't say, feel free to drop a resume off with Stark Unlimited HR. But in the end, Patsy turns down the proposal, for the moment at least. But Vic Martinelli has left a voicemail for Tony. Knows it's been years, and that maybe Tony's even avoiding him for a lot of reasons, but he needs Tony to call him back. he has the Mandarin's rings. And that is where the issue ends. I didn't really figure that that Patsy would accept the proposal. Also, it's interesting to see the anything with the Mandarin come back up. We haven't. I don't think there's really been. The last I can remember when it comes to the Mandarin was the Punisher killing him in the start of Matthew Rosenberg's follow up to Punisher War Machine Punisher run. So, yeah, it's been a minute since he's been around. So, anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Moon Knight: Black, White, and Blood, #2. So, like like previous issues of previous Black, White, and Blood minis, it's an anthology. So we got 3 stories: The Empty Tomb by Benjamin Percy and Vanessa Del Rey, A Hard Day's Night by Night with a K by David Pepose, Leonardo Romero, and Chris Sotomayor, and Blood Red Glider by Patch Zurcher. In The Empty Tomb, Moon Knight is apparently trying to sever his connection to Khonshu. Goes to Doctor Strange about this, and Strange gives him some does give him some help, but also tries to talk him out of it. Goes through various trials and is eventually wakes up in a hospital with a crescent moon carved on his forehead. And that is where that story ends. Hard Day's Night. Mr. Knight shows up at a Ruby's diner, injured. Apparently he shows up there often. So much so that they know exactly what it is he's going to order, and it's even ready for him as he walks in the door. But every night he goes there apparently and he discusses the evening's actions with his alters. Apparently that night he fought Vermin, with Jake Lockley being in the driver's seat. After that, with Stephen Grant in the driver's seat, he fought Crossfire, but Crossfire's tactics were predictable. Though he got some first degree burns from it. Then, with Khonshu in the driver's seat, he took on the Juggernaut. But then there's the question of the shards of glass in Moon Knight's knuckles. Apparently he punched a mirror. And he said, with the night after night, he counts scars of the voices inside his head, because it's easier than facing all the other people he's hurt along the way. Marlene, Frenchie, Gina, Crawley, even Jeff. After all this, however, someone kicks in the door of the diner to hold it up, and, well, Mr. Knight gets back to it. And that is where that story ends. Brings us to our final story, The Blood Red Glider by Patch Zurcher. Starts off 5 years previously in Africa. I think the bulk of the story would probably be set in the early days of Moon Knight's first ongoing. Guy named Kless shot at the group of mercs there fighting over mineral rights, or helping a war over mineral rights. Turns out Kless got picked up by by a Russian group, and during the competition alluded to in the beginning of the story, another mercenary was killed alongside while Mark survived. The mercenary's widow sends Mark Spector a package full of butterflies. It's the widow of the mercenary, and she's not happy. She slaps Mark upon seeing him, and wonders why she's even talking to him. And Mark says it's because she wants Mark to kill Kless, as he reveals that he's Moon Knight. So he tracks him down. Apparently, this group, the group he's operating with, the Volkov group, they do things fairly simple. Just they have a set way of doing things, and Moon Knight attacks, ends up killing Kless, and the rest of those with Volkov group they didn't much care for Kless anyway, so they agree to get Moon Knight back home, and that is where the issue ends. All good stories. And this was with a lot of these Black, White, and Blood minis. The issues, like, it's usually easy to pick out a specific story that was clearly the best, but these were all just amazing tales. And I honestly probably I probably couldn't pick a best story out of all three of them because each one is just great for its own reasons. So. Anyway, moving on to our last book at the moment, we've got Star Wars Bounty Hunters, number 24. Where we left off, Losha and Tonga hired a new member for their crew, Dengar, who's been working for Crimson Dawn and helping to exacerbate things within the Galactic Underworld. So upon boarding the Edgehawk, Dengar manages to alienate at least half the crew all in one fell swoop. He goes to torture Vakora, or claims that he's going to, but reveals to her that he is also with Crimson Dawn, slipping her a dagger. Elsewhere in the galaxy, on the planet Garel in the Lothal sector, Valance and those working with him are trying to foil an assassination plot against the general, though Valance is kind of thinking maybe assassinating this guy might not be the worst idea. But one of his crew acts on something or act on something suspicious, and makes the actual assassin jumpy. They attack with an ATST. Valance uses a speeder bike to stop the ATST. Saves the general's daughter, but the general is still assassinated. The Edgehawk arrives on Nal Hutta because that's where the Vermilion is. Dengar apparently was hired to get Losha and Tonga's crew aboard the Vermilion, but it's a double cross. In fact, I would say it's two double crosses. Dengar is actually planning to lead Losha and Tonga's crew into a trap so that Losha and Tonga's crew can take out Crimson Dawn leadership, and he won't have to worry about either one ever again. Meanwhile, Vakora is working on getting loose. But Dengar sneaks them all into the Vermilion, and once they're and leaves, explaining, "Hey, I was hired to get you guys in, not go with you," which enables them to let security know. The bounty hunter crew deal with Crimson Dawn troops, and man, seem to deal with them rather effectively. Until another group of working within Crimson Dawn show up. The Knights of Ren. And that is where the issue ends. I'm really enjoying all the Crimson Reign stuff. Actually, I'm really just enjoying Marvel's current crop of Star Wars books, to be completely honest. The ones I'm reading, at least. I imagine I'd probably enjoy High Republic quite a bit as well. But, yeah, Bounty Hunters is definitely scratching an itch I didn't realize there was there, and in the best way. But anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.